The proving grounds stretched across the southern continent of Vraxis Prime, a world where predator species from 100 systems came to test their worth. For 3 generations, the Predator Council had maintained their trials' brutal examinations that separated the apex from the adequate, the hunters from the hunted. Tavia stood at the edge of the preparation arena, her dark skin glistening with sweat under the twin suns. She was the only human to ever attempt the Predator test, and the assembled candidates made no effort to hide their contempt. A bipedal Krishian towered to her left, its chitinous armor gleaming like polished obsidian. On her right, a Velkarn pack leader flexed its 6 limbs, each ending in razor-sharp talons. "The mammal thinks herself a hunter," the Krishian hissed, its translator pendant rendering the insult in flat mechanical tones. Tavia didn't respond. She'd learned long ago that among predator species, words meant nothing. Only results mattered. The test master emerged, a grizzled Vraxian whose scarred hide spoke of decades surviving his homeworld's deadly jungles. "Candidates," his voice boomed across the arena. "You face the final trial." The cubs. A murmur rippled through the assembled predators. The cubs were Vraxian younglings, barely past their first molt, but already possessing the instincts that made their species feared across the sector. They weren't the prey. They were partners. "You will enter the Red Jungle," the testmaster continued. "You will hunt the razorback serpent with a cub assigned to you. Those who succeed earn their mark. Those who fail—" He gestured to the medical bay, where rejected candidates nursed wounds that would scar for life. "The cubs do not forgive incompetence." Tavia's assigned partner emerged from the holding pen, a young Vraxian with emerald scales and eyes that burned with predatory focus. Corin, the runt of his clutch. According to the whispers, but something in his gaze told Tavia that he'd heard those whispers and let them fuel his fire. "Human," Corin growled, circling her slowly. "I requested a proper hunter. They gave me you. Then we'll both have to prove them wrong," Tavia replied calmly. The Red Jungle earned its name from the crimson foliage that dominated its canopy plants that had evolved to absorb the spectrum of Vraxis Prime's binary stars. Beneath that bloody ceiling, the jungle floor was a maze of bioluminescent fungi, predatory plants, and creatures that made Earth's most dangerous fauna look tame. Tavia and Corin moved through the undergrowth in silence. Around them, other candidate cub pairs crashed through the terrain with varying degrees of stealth. The Krishian and his cub went north, the sound of snapping branches marking their passage. The Velkarn pack leader chose east, its cub struggling to keep pace with its 6-legged gait. "You move strangely," Corin observed, watching Tavia step carefully around a cluster of thorn veins. "Slow, cautious. There's a difference between caution and fear," Tavia said. She paused, touching the bark of a massive tree. "On Earth, my homeworld, we have jungles too. Different, but the principles are the same." "Principles?" Corin's tone dripped with skepticism. "The jungle isn't your enemy. It's a tool," Tavia knelt, scooping up a handful of luminescent moss. "Everything here evolved to survive. If you understand how, you can use it." They tracked the razorback serpent for 3 hours. The creature was massive, 20 meters of scaled muscle with dorsal spines that could punch through combat armor. Its trail was easy to follow. Gouged earth, broken vegetation, and the half-eaten remains of smaller predators. "Too easy. It's leading us," Tavia whispered. Corin's eyes widened. "How do you ambush predator behavior?" "I've seen it before." She pointed to a clearing ahead where the trail ended. "It wants us to think it's resting. We go in there, it drops from above. Then we flank?" Corin suggested. "No. We make it come to us." Tavia began gathering materials, certain vines, specific fungi, fallen branches. Corin watched with growing confusion as she wove them together with practiced efficiency. "What are you doing?" "Something my grandmother taught me. She grew up in the Amazon rainforest on Earth." Tavia's hands moved quickly, creating a framework of vines and branches. "Predators rely on their senses. Razorbacks hunt by thermal signature and movement, right?" "Yes, but then we give it both. Somewhere we're not." She placed the bioluminescent moss inside her creation, a crude mannequin that glowed with faint heat. The fungi she'd chosen generated warmth as they broke down organic matter. To thermal sensors, it would read as living prey. A roar split the jungle air not far away. One of the other candidates had failed. The sound of a cub's disappointed shriek followed. Tavia positioned her decoy at the clearing's edge and pulled Corin into cover. "Now we wait." "This is a trick," Corin hissed. Hunters face their prey directly. Hunters survive, Tavia corrected. Everything else is pride talking. Minutes stretched. Then the canopy erupted. The razorback serpent descended like a nightmare, its massive jaws closing on the decoy. The construct exploded in a shower of moss and vines. The serpent thrashed, confused, its thermal sense overwhelmed by the burning fungi now clinging to its snout. Now, Tavia commanded. They struck together Corin from the left, his juvenile claws finding purchase in the serpent's flank, while Tavia drove her plasma lance into the creature's exposed throat. The weapon, set to its lowest setting as per test rules, delivered a stunning charge that would mark the kill without permanent harm. The serpent collapsed, stunned. Corin stared at the fallen creature, then at Tavia. We used our brains instead of just our claws, Tavia finished. That's what makes Earth predators dangerous. We adapt, we think. We survive not because we're the strongest, but because we're the smartest. When they returned to the proving grounds, they were the first to arrive with a marked kill. The testmaster examined their trophy, the serpent's dorsal spine, glowing with the plasma lance's signature. Explain, he demanded. Curran stepped forward. The human taught me that the jungle is not just a battlefield, it is an arsenal. We did not face the razorback with strength alone. We outsmarted it. Unorthodox, the testmaster growled. But there was something new in his eyes when he looked at Tavia. Respect. Over the next hours, other candidates trickled back. Some bore their trophies. Most bore scars and the shame of failure. The Crescent never returned his cup did, alone, bearing the mark of a hunter who'd had to save himself from his partner's arrogance. At the ceremony, Tavia and Corin stood together as the testmaster burned their marks into their shoulders, the triple claw of a Vraxian proven hunter. No human has ever earned this, the testmaster announced. But then, no hunter has ever approached the test as you did. You showed the cubs that predators must evolve or die. That the greatest weapon is not claw or fang, but the mind that wields them. Corin touched his mark, then looked at Tavia. On Earth, in your Amazon jungle, are all humans like you? Tavia smiled, remembering her grandmother's stories of indigenous tribes who'd thrived in one of Earth's deadliest environments for millennia. The best of us learn from those who came before. We don't just survive in the jungle. We become part of it. As the twin suns set over Vraxis Prime, casting long shadows across the proving grounds, word began to spread through the predator species of the galaxy. Humanity had passed the predator test. Not through superior strength, not through better weapons, but through something far more dangerous. The Earth jungle trick of turning the environment itself into an ally. And every predator species understood the implication. If humans could do that on an alien world, what were they capable of on their own?